Coming up on Step Into the Blue. Admittedly, their acting skills might need a little work, but it's the act of saving a life that counts, as the recruits of Class 16 learn first aid. And then...
A 5'6" rubber 310-4, I cover you 10-8, route 10-10 for a 10-7 boy.
What in the world is she saying? There's a long list of radio codes, and before the recruits can hit the street, they need to learn every one of them and how to use them on the radio.
Police officers come from all walks of life. Some start their careers right out of college. Others were business people, and many served in the military. But before they become police officers, all of them spend time as recruits at the police academy. Now, join the recruits of the San Jose Police Academy as they prepare to step into the blue.
You might recall that back on the first day of Class 16's Academy, Police Chief Rob Davis emphasized that the San Jose Police Department is a family, and that includes not just department employees, but also their spouses and family members. In fact, thanks to the department's chaplaincy program, Class 16's family members have an opportunity to attend their own San Jose PD Academy. Now granted, it meets only 6 times, and there are no buzz cuts required. But as Chaplain Jim Becknall tells us in this interview, the Family Academy serves an important purpose.
The Spouses Academy and Family Academy, its real purpose is to help the family members to kind of have some of their questions answered, to get rid of some of the apprehension, their son, their daughter, their loved one is going to become a police officer, and that's scary for a lot of them. So we give them information and we help them see some of the training that the officers receive. And it's just intended to help them kind of relax and support their loved one in the academy.
During this session of the Family Academy, the department's Canine unit stopped by, and Officer Greg Albin introduced us to his partner.
This is Yoshi. He is a 2.5, well, he'll be 3 years old in April. German Shepherd, Czech and German mix. Spoken mostly in German, but he was raised in Germany and then came over from Germany to the States, and I got him at about 18 months old, and he's been working with me ever since on the streets.
And what kind of things do you and Yoshi do? What's your primary responsibilities?
My primary responsibility with Yoshi is to go out and just work basic street patrol and assist the kind of swing shifters and midnighters on basic stuff. We handle high-risk entries as far as doing building searches, and if there's a high-risk situation that we need to use a dog to apprehend somebody and or search for somebody, that's what we're going to utilize these dogs mostly for. We do have 2 Ruhig in our unit that are going to be used for that same feature as well as narcotics detection. But for the most part, Yoshi, he's a street dog, and he's used to go out and find the bad guy.
Now, as you can probably tell, Yoshi would much rather be out working than sitting for an interview. But before hitting the streets again, the Canine unit put on a demonstration for the members of the Family Academy. The San Jose Police Department Canine Unit consists of 10 dogs, all of which are imported from Europe, where they receive basic training. Then, upon arriving in San Jose, the dog and his handler undergo more advanced training. Following the Canine Unit demonstration, we asked Melissa Park, whose husband Jason is a member of Class 16, how she feels about him becoming a police officer.
Being in the Spouses Academy and seeing all the family members here, it gets me really excited. I've also been on a ride-along, and I just, people have asked me, was I scared for that? And I said, no, actually, it taught me of how much support. They're like a family. They're not going to let anything happen to their family member. And so him becoming a police officer, it just gets me really excited that he's a part of this, that we're a part of this, and just all the support and the love from everyone.
Back in the classroom, Jason Park and his fellow recruits are undergoing First Aid and CPR training. Over the 24 weeks of the academy, they'll receive 21 hours of training that not only could save the life of a citizen, but also that of a fellow officer or family member. In the beginning, there are lessons on checking a victim's pulse, bandaging injuries, and immobilizing broken bones. Later on, the recruits learn how to assist a choking victim by clearing an obstructed airway.
Victim, it's completely obstructed. You shouldn't be able to make any noise, victim. Rescuer, get behind them. Find the navel. Find the sternal notch.
It's difficult playing the part of the victim when you're ticklish. Many lives have been saved by the prompt application of CPR, and police officers are often the first to arrive on a scene where the victim isn't breathing or doesn't have a pulse. Quick actions by the officer may be all that's required to save a human life. I guess some of these recruits haven't spent much time around babies, but they'll get the right touch by the end of the class. It's a good bet that few, if any, of the recruits have ever heard this phrase.
1 Adam 12, 1 Adam 12, 211 in progress, 1 Adam 12, respond code 3.
Each week, millions of television viewers in the 60s and 70s tuned in to the police drama Adam 12, and most of them probably knew what 10-4 and code 3 meant. But there are more than 100 other such codes that you'll routinely hear on a police radio, and the Academy recruits need to learn each one of them.
The reason for this is because, number one, we're under regulation by the FCC. And one of the biggest things about radio traffic, it needs to be short, concise, and accurate. So a lot of it is brevity. Using these codes help shorten the amount of transmissions we use, especially in an emergency situation. When an officer would like to check a driver's license, normally the officer will say on the air, can I have a 1027 checked, or a 1027 request. They don't say, can I have a driver's license check. When they want to run a license plate, they don't say, can you run a license plate? They say, can you run a 1028? And dispatchers and officers speak the exact same language so they can understand each other.
Adam 12 may have disappeared from the airwaves decades ago, but the show's officers, Reed and Malloy, have something in common with the police officers and detectives featured on today's police TV shows. They never write reports.
Well, I think a lot of people get their perceptions from television, which is, the good guys show up on a scene, there's a big shooting or there's some big incident, and 10 minutes later they're at another call, or they're eating, drinking coffee or having lunch or whatever. And that's not reality at all. A very large percentage of our job, in fact, I think Post has estimated that about, I think they said about 40% of our job is paperwork and filling out forms and doing reports.
And that's why the San Jose Police Academy curriculum includes 16 weeks of report writing. Now, the course is challenging, but thanks to Academy teaching techniques, the great majority of recruits succeed.
We try really hard to give everybody the training they need, and when they come in, we assume that they don't know anything about writing police reports, and just because you were pretty good at writing in college, your composition teacher thought you had a nice style, that's totally different. That may even work against you. So we really start them from scratch. We don't expect much of them the first couple of weeks, and then usually by about the 16th week, we've got everybody pretty much ready to go out there and hit the FTO program.
Another big slice of the report writing pie is forms, as in, which one do I use? These days, it seems like there's a form, or 2 or 3, for every incident or crime. For example, an arrest for driving under the influence results in the completion of a wide assortment of documents.
With the DUI and everything else, there are forms that you have to fill out. With the DUI, you've got forms that you have to fill out for CHP and for the DMV, as well as a narrative that tells us what happened. And that's pretty much the case with all crimes. You've got some forms. If you're going to be booking somebody, if you've arrested somebody and you're going to be booking them, there are forms for that. There's a booking sheet, there's a felony affidavit, and then there's our primary police report, which is a chronological detailing of all the things that you saw and did to investigate this case.
Since police officers don't have an office or desk or even a cubicle, where do they write all these reports? Well, trying to write a detailed police report while sitting in a patrol car jammed with equipment oftentimes isn't convenient or safe for the officer. So many of them head to a coffee shop or restaurant. Now, there are also several community centers in San Jose that provide working space for the officers. And before we move on, Officer Hamblin has some words of advice for those considering attending the police academy but might be unsure about their writing skills.
So if you aren't too sure where the apostrophes go, you're not too sure which words get capitalized, those things are going to kind of bite you in this academy. So you may want to take a class, or at least get a book, or maybe an online course or something that might help you with those things.
In our next episode of Step Into the Blue, no, it's not a diaper-changing class for the new dads in the academy, but it does involve hazardous materials. Then the recruits learn there's no such thing as a routine car stop. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Step Into the Blue.